Everyone, welcome back to the Alex Beyond Thoughts podcast with me, your host, Alex. If you're watching the recorded version, this is my very stylish hair wrap a la towel. I just had a shower and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just jump on the podcast like this whilst my hair dries a little bit. So we are doing it. If you can hear traffic, a dog barking, random Vietnamese truck noises, and people shouting, that is because I'm in my hotel room. This is gonna be the whole time, isn't it? I'm in my hotel room in Vietnam, and basically the balcony means that there's a bunch of noise. So that's really all I can do about it. If you're also watching and I have these red tan lines, it's because I got burned and now I'm peeling and very two-toned, three-toned maybe even. Anyway, let's get into this episode. This episode is all about a business update, travel update. If I look off to the side when you're watching this on the video version, it's because I've got some notes, but it's just going to be a ramble because you know what this podcast is like usually. So let's head straight into it. Essentially, if you haven't been up to date on my Instagram, on my TikTok, on my YouTube, any of the other places you find me, but you just listen to me on the podcast, then you've been missing out, guys. Because we being me and my boyfriend Sam, we are on a Southeast Asia backpacking trip. So I'm currently, like I said, in Vietnam. I'm in Ho Chi Minh City, and this is the fourth country on the stop. It should be the final country, depending on a multitude of factors, but this is the last country we're doing or planned to do for this trip. So we landed into Bangkok in Thailand. That vlog is already up. So if you're watching this now, you can go and head to that video and all my TikToks and things like that after you finish this episode, of course. So we landed in Bangkok. We traveled up to Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai. Then by slow boat, we came down into Laos. We did Luang Prabang and Bang Vieng. We flew from Luang Prabang to Cambodia, Siem Reap. We spent quite a few nights in Siem Reap, loved it there. We then got a sleeper bus down to Koh Rong Island. We spent 2 nights on Koh Rong Island, got a bus back up to Phnom Penh. We spent a couple of days in Phnom Penh doing a bunch of historical stuff and sightseeing. From Phnom Penh, we got a 6-hour bus across the border into Vietnam to Ho Chi Minh. Went all smoothly. All of our border crossings have gone pretty smooth. Some have taken quite long, some have taken pretty short amounts of time. But yeah, we are now in Ho Chi Minh City, and that is a whistle-stop tour of the route we've done. But I'm just so happy to be in Vietnam. Like, this was one of the main stops on this whole trip that I have been so excited to get to. And now that we're finally here, it's just, yeah, it's really hitting the nail on the head. In terms of like what I'd planned in my mind for this trip, this is really like, this is here, this is it. So throughout all of this, I have been working. So I finished my corporate job, and I feel like I might touch on the corporate job and stuff in this episode, but I finished my corporate job at the end of January, January 26th, I think. 25th or 26th? 26th, I think. January 26th, I finished the job, and we flew out of the UK the 20th of February. So I had like just under a month, like 3 weeks, under a month window, to get all my shit together, basically. Pack, make sure I had everything ready for the business, sorted out the website and everything so that could run seamlessly whilst I was away. And was running the Unstoppable Woman. I've got Elite Mind that I need to prep for because that's going to be launching whilst we're out here. There's so much going on. I'm trying to film, I'm trying to do the podcast, shorts and stuff for like TikTok, Reels, shorts, all that good stuff. There is just like a multitude of things happening. And at the start of this trip, kind of like I'm going to be touching on in some of the vlogs, I'm on a bit of an emotional roller coaster, and it's definitely for the better. Like, this isn't something I'm scared about. It's not something that I'm worried about. It's just I'm having an ego death for my next level, and going through that ego death can be so hard, because you feel like you want to resist, you feel like things are going wrong, you feel like you don't know what you're doing or what the best path forward is, or if you're even doing the right thing. And your ego wants you to reject it. It wants you to resist. It wants you to hold back and stay safe and stay in your comfort zone. But really, I'm just trying to get into the gnarly, nitty-gritty parts of it, feel the emotions, cry my eyes out, question whether I'm doing the right thing. And even during that questioning, talking myself through why I'm feeling like that, talking myself through how I'm going to get to the other side of it, because you don't want to experience an ego death and just get trapped and stagnant in it. Like, if you hit that point where you're questioning everything, you're probably having an ego death and you're on the cusp of your expansion. You are on the very edge of that next level. And it takes going to the other side, going through the depths of it, making sure you persevere through that ego death to get to that expansion. Now, if you resist and if you try and put things back together and retract on moves you've made and shift and change so that you're doing things the same as you were before, then you're not experiencing that ego death to the fullest, and you're just keeping yourself stuck in that period before the expansion. So you're going to feel that ego death and you're going to feel that negative, stagnant, awful energy for a long period of time than if you just felt it in the moment, trusted the fact that you were going to make it to the other side and propelled forward anyway. Then comes your expansion, right? So at the very start of this trip, I had just had like a mini traumatic thing, like little T trauma happen. And I was like really questioning myself, my identity, like all these kind of things. Um, sorry, excuse me. All of these things I was questioning. And I was like, hold on a second. This is a moment in time. This is a period. This is an emotion. This is not a fact. This is not something I have to take as truth, and it's not something I have to act on. So I went through it. I felt the emotions. I allowed myself the grace of the moment to actually just cry and be upset and not know what to do with myself and feel a little bit numb, to get to the other side of this, where I am now feeling so creative. I'm feeling determined. I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling a different level of myself start to come into its own right. And that wouldn't have happened had I tried to resist the ego death, tried to resist questioning myself, tried to resist the bad feelings, feeling shit about myself, feeling shit about what I'm doing, feeling like I have no purpose, all that good stuff, right? If I tried to resist all of that, I would still be feeling like this now. However, I'm the opposite because I went through it and I got to the other side. In the real deep part of that kind of period of suffering, I was literally on the bathroom floor, crying my eyes out on the phone to my best friend, being like, I don't even know if I can finish this trip. I don't even know if I can finish this weekend. Like, help. What the fuck do I do? And she, God bless her, she's an angel. She really just talked me through it, like talked me through the depth of that moment. She talked me through the real whole of that moment and helped me process, because something that we really struggle with when we're in that space, we struggle with our rationality and we struggle with our logic, because the spiral takes you down to this place where you can't see 2 feet in front of you. You can just see the immediate emotion, and you can just see like the tragedy of whatever's going on around you in that period of time. So she was able, being completely removed from the situation, to help talk me through that. And she has some experience with coaching and some experience with personal development and all these kind of things. So she's really great at being able to hold me in a space that I need to be held in that moment. And she was available for it. So she kind of talked me through how I was feeling, because the answer that kept coming was, I don't know. And it's not that I was trying not to figure it out. It was because I had that kind of blindsidedness of being stuck in the emotion of the moment. So I couldn't see further to actually explore those feelings. And she was able to ask the questions and help me pick and find out what it was that I was actually experiencing in that moment, rather than just feeling the terror and the fear and the most horrible sensations of that ego death in that moment. So we unpacked it. I got to grips with it. It didn't fix it. And I don't want you to like think that just talking it through is going to fix it. I still felt awful for the next couple of days. Like Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai was a really tough time for me. Yes, I persevered through it because I knew that expansion was on the other end of it, but it didn't make it any less hard to deal with. It didn't make it any easier to go through. So I was having a real tough time in Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, and I love Chiang Mai. Like I've been there four times now, three times I think. Um, I really love that place, and it really feels like home to me. So it was probably in my mind, it was a safe space to go through this, and it was. I felt really held by the city, and that sounds really strange, but everywhere I went was a comfort space to me. So even though I was feeling bad, I was still able to have a good time alongside feeling numb, alongside feeling shit, because that space held a lot of comfort and safety for me. So it was really the perfect place to go through this like deep, transformative, but tough time. And like even coming into Laos, I still wasn't feeling good. Then the air quality in Laos was absolutely horrendous, hence why we only went to two places in Laos. It was, yeah, it just wasn't ideal for my breathing situation. So we left Laos pretty quickly. But even through Laos, like I was still feeling this personal growth moment. And it was not fun, but it was growth. And it was a time that allowed me to sit and reflect in the direction that I'm going, reflect on the path that I'm taking and the way my business is moving, the way I'm personally moving, the choices I've got coming up that I will need to make. Like, where am I going to live? How much time am I going to spend in each place? Like all that good stuff of my future, how I'm going to run the business even. And yeah, that reflective time really helped me get my mind on track of what kind of mood and vibe and like direction and period of life for this even next quarter is going to be, and how I'm going to execute in this next quarter, because this next quarter is really big for me. It's really influential. It's kind of a make or break period of time, and that's a bit of an exaggeration. Like I can do this for a long time to come, but for me, in terms of my, do I stick with this or do I pivot, this next quarter is super huge for me. So um I say all this to say that travel, yes, well, it's glamorous and romanticized. There are elements of that in this trip that I 100% feel like right now in Ho Chi Minh, this is 100% glamorized for me. This is 100% romanticized. I'm really in my element here in Vietnam. Whereas other parts of the trip, like Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Northern Thailand, Laos, I was really feeling the depths of the pain. That was my unglamorous moment. That was the time when traveling was really hard, and I felt like I wasn't sure that it was the right thing to be doing. But just because you aren't sure, just because you are feeling challenged and you're feeling stretched, you're feeling like you're completely at capacity, it doesn't mean you stop. I didn't stop running my business. I didn't stop servicing for my clients. I didn't stop prepping for them and sending them updates and guidelines and things that they needed. I didn't stop my business just because I was going through a tough human moment. And that is something in emotional intelligence, perseverance, and discipline that a lot more people need to learn. That just because it's hard, it doesn't mean you have to stop. You get to hold that duality of I was going through an ego death, but I was also servicing my clients on calls. I was crying my eyes out on the bathroom floor, having to be coached myself, yet I could still show up 100% for my clients as and when they need me. Now, in your life, you might not be a coach, you might not be someone that has to support people in that way, but how are you holding that duality for yourself? Are you going through a really tough personal moment, but you're still showing up for your job every day? Are you having an issue with your child, but you're still showing up in your relationship with your partner every time? This gets to be different, but what we're speaking about with holding yourself to a standard, holding your values up, even when you're going through these tough moments, it's really about like, yes, you get to experience both. And no, you don't have to be wrong for doing both at the same time. You don't have to put everything down just because one area of your life is tough. You don't have to let your fitness drop just because you've broken up with your ex. Like, yeah, sure, take a moment to like cry and like, do you know what I mean? Like, take a moment to be human and give yourself grace in that moment. But it doesn't mean that your routine has to stop. It doesn't mean that your life has to stop because you're having a human moment. It doesn't mean you have to put your business down because you're having a tough time financially and it's a bit of a stretch. Like, obviously, discernment with this, but you get to have multiple layers to your life, into your business, into your dreams, into your goals, into your career. Don't put things on hold just because it's tough in one area, because you will surprise yourself with how much capacity you have to hold each individual space. Where you might have 10% capacity in your personal relationships, you might still have 90% capacity in your business or in your career, right? So don't take from one to supply the other, but you can still execute in both areas or have space in one area and execute in another, depending on what you need at that time. I think that's all I want to say on holding duality and how hard it's been and how amazing it's been in traveling so far. I do want to just touch on business a little bit more in terms of like how I'm running everything all at the same time, because I feel like people will be curious about that. So at the moment and throughout this trip, I've kind of been scheduling working blocks into my day. So today we've had a jam-packed day. We got up at about 8 a.m., showered, got ready, all that good stuff. Went out. We've done like 5 or 6 different tourist stops this morning, and we hit those all in about 4 hours, including a war museum. Literally, like, bawled my eyes out at one point. It was awful. Seeing all that death, all the destruction. War is genuinely horrific. So we've seen all of that in like 4 hours. Had lunch, came back to the hotel. I've showered again because I'm so sweaty in this country. Oh my God. Showered again. I'm now recording a podcast. I've watched a little bit of YouTube and relaxed a little bit, replied to my friends, booked another podcast in. Like, I've done so much work. I did a little bit of work last night actually as well. But yeah, I've done so much work in the last, I think, 2 hours. I've been here. Actually an hour and a half, posting stories, things like that. So yes, while I have a million other things to do, like my to-do list is very long, I still manage to fit work in and around traveling. So my travel is not taking away from my work. My work is not taking away from my travel. In fact, they're both being optimized. And my ability to execute on both is being optimized by doing them in conjunction with the other. So I get to enjoy really intense short spurts of tourism and travel and enjoying the spaces I'm in. And then I get to take my laptop to a cafe, which is what I love, or a restaurant, also love, and sit and enjoy local drinks and things like that whilst tapping away at my laptop. There is so much downtime in traveling that you forget about, that I'm able to execute on my business in, and it fills me up in the best way because I feel like I'm getting the best out of both. When I get 2 hours now to record a podcast, probably edit this and get it uploaded, as well as I recorded a YouTube video this morning. I've done 4 hours of tourism, hit all the spots that are there to see in Ho Chi Minh. I say all, like, there's still a lot more to see, but like the main spots we wanted to see, I've got done. I've booked a tour to go to tomorrow. Oh, there's just so much. And like, we still have this whole evening. Like, I'm gonna get ready soon after I sort of finish up my work. Gonna get ready. We're gonna go for dinner, probably go get some pho. I had a really good pho last night. Oh my God, it was so good. Uh, yeah, we'll get some pho tonight or something of the equivalent and go for drinks. And that has been my day traveling. And tomorrow I'm gonna do a tour in the morning. I'll come home, probably have a nap, shower, get some lunch, and work in the afternoon, and then again have the whole evening to do whatever I like. It's just so optimized and it's so perfect that I get to experience this. And the fact that getting to experience this is a direct result of having this business is just so incredible. And I will forever be grateful to myself and to my clients and to you even watching, that we've all collectively put the faith in me that I get to do this and that I get to have this and I get to hold this expansive energy for every single one of you, that should this be something you desire, you get to have it. Like, I'm not an exceptional case. I just work hard and I'm consistent and I'm disciplined, at least enough to get what I want. Don't get me wrong, I'm a lazy person. Like, I will lounge in bed all day. I will not move. I will skip a workout if I want to. I'm a lazy person generically. But when it's something I want and it's something I desire and it's something I'm working towards, I will work myself to the bone. Not that it's needed, but oh, cat, go away. Um, anyway, sorry, I'll work myself to the bone if it's needed, but I will also hold space for myself to do all of it simultaneously, like I am traveling right now. So if you are one of those people that are worried that if you decided to take 2 weeks off to travel and you're not going to be able to get the work you need done, or if you are feeling like it would be too much of a stretch and you're not sure you can handle it, if I'm able to, you are able to. And I absolutely believe in the fact that us lazy girls can have it all. We really can. And yeah, that has been a pretty much rambly but perfect travel and business episode. So yeah, I don't want to keep you here for too much longer. I think the next episode is going to be maybe about travel some more or about podcasting or about something. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast, give it a follow, give it a rating. I would absolutely love that. Let me know where you're watching as well. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment. If you are listening on Spotify or something, send me a screenshot of where you're listening. I would love to see it. So yeah, I will see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.